All right, guys. So I'm kind of just finished my last segment. That was for day 107, and I usually wanted to wait every day to do it because I have a new idea about my case and about that. I like to always incorporate that. But I think it's important that I'll do that separately. But like in terms of getting the story out, because you guys got to remember my this whole thing is also to keep you guys informed, but a lot of it's a very slow process. So once I get the story out, you're not gonna see. It's gonna maybe be a month before something occurs or something. So in that process, every day I still want to. I started that campaign. It's a similar campaign. So um, just to create awareness about the social injustices that go on in America. So like kind of what I experienced, and then just being out here in Saipan, like I just want to get back right now too. So I got a lot of free time to do that. I'm just trying to pitch in where I can there, and you learn too. So that's a little bit of what my campaign's about. Is that we're all the same. We're all here to work hard and make a decent living. And we just want to be treated fairly. So that's kind of what it's about. So once I get the story out about everything, kind of give you all the details, like I said, it'll be about 3 or 4 segments, and I'll go over that right now. So I'm gonna finish the story out for you guys. That way, every day instead of me talking about my case, I'll just be trying to inspire everybody to speak up and be vocal about it if they feel like they're being discriminated against or if they feel isolated. Like a lot of big one that I think I want to incorporate into the law is isolation. Uh, like I think that's a big deal. I was kind of impressed by it that I came up with it. But isolation, I think, is a real good one because people can feel isolated in the workplace, and I think that's a serious concern. I think if you force people to be isolated, that is not a healthy work environment. So that's something we'll get into down the road, but something I want to talk about. Just kind of that's what I want to gear this similar campaign to, and then once the conclusion of the lawsuit's done, we'll wrap all that up. So, all right, so kind of back to it. So, uh, basically, this is kind of what happened. This might be a little longer episode or whatnot, but I kind of need to get the story out there. So and this one now I can be now I'm gonna put my emotion into it. Like I did this last segment on to specifically get the law, but now because emotion does play a lot in the courtroom too. And, like they need to see how how much you how passionate you were about this because that's it's important. Like they're trying to tell you that the attorneys are passionate, but nobody can feel as passionate about something but you. And like I said, there's nothing to hide. So like it's just raw passion. Like this is how I feel. So that's what I love about the court because you can't judge me for that. Like this is how if I'm angry about it, you have to let me be angry about it. If I'm sad about it, if I tear up, whatever it is, like you can't judge. Just those are my emotions, and that's what's great is you get to just express all that. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. Just kind of give you the story from my point of view, and let you guys make the decision based on morals, based on ethics, and I'll give you everything, including what the violation that they said I did and all of it. So here goes. Give you the background because I also want to include like the economic because this is important for value in the cases. My economic gain, as you call it, going from poverty, having being on welfare, being in in the public school system, going to college, financial aid, all that like was provided via the government. So it was always there for me. And at the one time that I was getting ready to start paying my student loans, uh, 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 you have credit card debt, some paying interest. That's how the economy works, and that's what it's there for. And like they took it all away, which is weird. But like, why? That's the government protects it for that reason. They need hardworking people like that. They love that. But anyhow, so 2011, I filed bankruptcy. Was in the market crash, whatever. Was set up for failure. Who cares? Now I'm like, all right, I'm a driven individual, and I'm going. Like, okay, so what are we doing? 2011. Um, it's I have let's see here. In 2011 October, my bankruptcy discharge. So at that moment, my new life starts. So it's January. I start with Carmex in 2012 in January. January. 12th. So I would say for the first 6 months, I didn't take it really that serious because I was still in school and I wanted to finish school. But then it just started became very lucrative, very easy. It came easy to me to sell cars. So like, and it was great because like I didn't really, how would I say, like, because so CarMax, like what I loved about their model is there is no negotiations. Like they do give you a good price, and they give so you can stand behind the company. They give you a great price, and for at least they did. I'm not so sure anymore, uh, but like I could stand behind the company. And then the other good thing is I had a brother, or had a brother. I have a brother. Obviously, you know that. I have a brother. He deals with collections and things like that. Collections, and he works for the banks and things like that. So I understood kind of how, like, when dealing with the auto financing, how it works, so I can really advise people. And like I really took my job serious. Uh, like I had people, because it worked for me too when I talked about the bankruptcy and stuff like that. And I would tell people like, no, this interest is too high. Tell me about your situation. They're like, well, my bankruptcy is going to discharge, blah, blah, whatever it was. And I was able to kind of guide them, and then, like, I would see them back. Like, so I would walk them through the steps because I was so knowledgeable about it, because I use the system it myself. And sure enough, like, because I educated them about how the system works, I would see them back in 6 months or a year. I've had people like, it's just weird. You just knew what the banks desired, and you can coach them and tell them how to do it. So I really was good at it. Had a lot of knowledge behind it. It was just came easy. The money was easy. Like, people genuinely, like, you gave them genuine information, they're gonna genuinely buy from you just because they feel comfortable, and you don't need the bullshit. So people, they love me, and that's kind of the big part. It's a process, but like I would love to subpoena all my customers because um, I think if one thing you can do is you you ask any of my customers, and I was a man of integrity. Like, if they didn't need something, I just was honest with them. I didn't care. It wasn't about the money. I was like, I just knew if I was who I was, it was gonna always work out anyhow. Like, I didn't have to be somebody else. So like that's why it was always kept me honest. It was like, I'm good. Life is good, and I don't have to be anybody else. So it so I was good at it, just selling cars. So then I started just getting good, and then you start, you have that, you just start building a family with your coworkers. It becomes more serious. There's other people who take it very serious too, and they start inspiring. There's a lot of people that I work with, a lot of top people in the company. I mean, some of the big names in the company know who I am. So like you guys probably know Steve out of the Las Vegas store, well known across the country. Everybody knew the guy. I mean, me and him were great friends. Great friends. You can ask him. We were great friends. He just knew I worked hard. No bullshit. No, not trying to scam anybody. He knew that people were snakes and stuff like that. But like, me and him, like with everybody, you just do that, and that's what he respected, I think. So just some of the big names, like I was invested with I knew everybody of everybody and everything about everything, and that's kind of like, I would love to subpoena all the employees, even in my employee file, like, because CarMax tried to bring up my employee file with saying that's why I didn't get the transfer approved or whatever. It was, I had confrontation, but you can even, the lady that I had confrontation with, her and I are in great terms. Like, she would just vouch for it. Like, when you go to work, it's just in that type of business. Business is business. Like, it's not. We know it's not a perfect world, but at the end of the day, we're being true to ourselves, and that's what we respect about each other. So it was always about doing the right thing, even if the outcome wasn't right. It was always about doing the right thing. And sometimes there's violations for, like, you're on a test drive and they tell you have to take a lunch. What do you can't You're not gonna take a lunch. So it's just, and they understood that, but they like protocol, they had to write it up, I guess. Like. But it didn't bother nobody. They didn't let it affect anybody. Nobody got fired over it. So so it was just a great company. So I knew everybody of everybody. A lot of great benefits with the company. So like the fiscal year was from April 1st to March 29th every year. So because of the level of I was an elite sales, I would say it was always top three in the store, especially in California. So I transferred. So that's what I was getting back to. So let me get back to that. So 2011 fire bankruptcy, everything. So in that first year, I made so much money. Uh, it increased from making nothing to that, and then to be able to buy a house within 2 years. Now I had help from my ex fiance at the time, or excuse me, she's my ex fiance now. That like her and I worked together really hard to get where we were. So we bought a house. So like CarMax gave me life to be able to give us life, at that time because I was able to propose to her, and I bought it was an $8,000 ring, and we were able to pay it off in a year. Like it was, we followed the system that was given in place by the credit card systems. Like, you try to do right. Sometimes things just fall apart. But um, so um, so yeah, economically the gain was there. Buying a house, and then I had a gambling problem. So. Uh, like I was also made enough money where I was starting to be reckless with it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? This needs to stop. This economic gain is not going to happen if I'm gambling. So like I made the decision to move, and I was like, so that was my main decision was to move to California. So I didn't see the big picture quite yet. I just knew that I needed to, in terms of retirement and things like that, I just knew I needed to um, I just knew I needed to fix an issue that I had. So moved to California. It worked out perfect. It was like the universe set it up because my ex fiance, her cousins live there in Modesto. So it was like, wow, this is perfect. She's always wanted to live with her cousins. So it was cool. It was a great, and like, so it was a positive move. It was a great move. And sure enough, like no gambling, and it was just different. Taking trips every weekend, going to Yosemite, Big Sur, we go camping. It's just like things that I've never got to do before. But a big part of it was Denise. She was helping us. She was fantastic with that stuff, just creating all that stuff. So it just showed us a lot. So it was fun. But when you talk about an economic life, like I feel like I worked hard to get to that point to where I made the decision to go to California. So like to be able to do that stuff, I obtained that. Like because we paid for, it, we split half. We didn't, it's not like they, we paid half, we paid our way. So and we got to enjoy that stuff. And that's kind of what I don't get an opportunity to do that stuff anymore, which is fine. Because right now I'm focused on this, but like I'd like that back. I'd like an opportunity to go camping whenever. I would take a 3-4 day. Oh, that was the other thing. My schedule was amazing. Um, so, but yeah, the economic aspect. So I got to work. I only worked 32 hours a week. So my schedule was cool too, and I think there's a lot of value in this. Is work-life balance is very important, and it's very hard to find a job that you get to have a 4 day weekend every other week. So like to be in that type of industry and have that, it was amazing. So like I would work 11 days straight, but then get 4 days off. It would work perfect because it allowed you to work hard for 11 days, sell a lot of cars, so consistent, and then like you get 4 days off and relax. Like you would make your money and then you get to relax for 4 days. And I think it was just important to have. Like for me, it worked. For that, like I worked 11 days and then took 4 days off, and I'm ready to go back to work. That was perfect for me. And it allowed many travel, and it was just great. So that's economic gain for me. That's important. That's important understanding. Is I went from not doing that. I went from not having a house. I went to having a house, becoming another economic gain. We began renting the house. So we became. So when we moved to Modesto, we still had the house. We chose not to sell it. We saw that the market was increasing, so we wanted to hold on to it. So we rented it. We rented it out. So we became business owners at that moment, if you will, because we were renting a house. So like that is another economic gain that I don't have anymore. It was taken away. So that aspect, like I'm like your life is improving, and it's improving at an incredible pace. Like if you look at how quickly I obtained it from 2012 to 2016, it was amazing. Had credit cards at $10,000. Not that it's, uh, not that you're trying to be bougie about it, but it's to be able to do that is not easy. It's a very difficult task. The banks are not, especially coming out of the market in 2008, they were very tight. But like again, the system is written for you, and it can't. It just wouldn't fail. So I just followed that system, and it's worked. It works. And I'm now. This is what it's all about: is proving will it work for this. Uh, so yeah, the that economic gain aspect of it, my 4 day weekend, I had my retirement going. Um, what else? Oh, the car. You get a car. So based on the levels you obtain, there's platinum level, triple diamond, double diamond, all that stuff. So when you get the platinum, uh, excuse me, it's not platinum. It's I think it's diamond. I'm correct. I believe it's diamond. You sell 750 careers in your lifetime, and then you get to any car off the lot under, I believe, is under 50,000, and you get to drive it. So that's an economic game that I get to drive. I can go drive a Corvette one weekend and switch it up and drive BMW. There's value in that to be able to have that. You can ask anybody to be able to drive. There's value in that. So that's an economic. Yes, I worked on. I wanted to drive the Hemi Challengers. Yes, yes, I did. Um, and I worked hard for that. So that stripped an economic, like that they took that from me. What else is there? So that aspect. So all right. So now I moved from Vegas to California. Life is good. We're renting. We're living with her cousin for a little bit, so we're able to save a little bit of money. Moved into apartment, but the apartment was pricey. It was how much was it? I want to say it was like 1350. That was at 1350. So she was working at Bass Pro at the time, so we were making it work. It was perfect being able to do it. So like it was working, saving. And then 1350 had an apartment, and then we're like, okay, so we are doing great. There's gonna, we're in Modesto. There's a limited market in Modesto. They're opening a new store in Pleasanton, which is off the main highway. So this is a purely an economic decision. Is you're talking about putting 21.5 acres or something they had on the middle of one of the busiest highways in California. I want in. Like it purely just, and you're talking about in the Bay Area, and the prices were good, especially dealing within the Bay Area. It's great prices. So I knew what I was doing. So what I do is I'm like, okay, I want to go to the store. I'm going to let everybody know about it. Again, I would love to see all my coworkers because everybody knew that I wanted to go to that store. Everybody. I cannot exaggerate. You can say, where did Julie want to go? And they'd be like, Pleasanton, Pleasanton, Pleasanton. Like, everybody knew. And, like, I would love to get people on the stand because I think those emotions are important. Like, I'm telling you, people were advocates for me to go. They loved it. They loved the energy. So I put in for a transfer. So they haven't opened it yet. The store is not open. It's going to be a brand new store. So it's supposed to open May 24th, I believe. So this all took place, started in January to February. So January, so they put out the posting for lateral transfers. Now keep in mind, I did a lateral transfer. I literally went from Las Vegas to Modesto. I moved the whole state. And literally, I spoke with the LGM Eddie Reagan, and on a 5 minute, he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And he was like, "Not much." And he was like, "Oh, I see you come." I was like, "Yeah, so I had some bad info, and we're ready for something different." So he's like, "Cool, cool." He's like, "Tell me about yourself." I was like, "You know what? I'm in Directors Club. I'm just start to show some progression." He's like, "Cool. You know what? I'd be glad to have some new blood." And that was it. And he didn't stop me. It was weird. It was smooth, made it easy, made me feel comfortable. It was great. So go ahead, welcome me, perfect. So we're doing it. That was the trend. Now I go again. It's the store. Now by this time, my credentials have gone from being in Directors Club to that was it. I was just in Directors Club. It was a step up, which is not a bad thing because you still have to sell. To be there's sales consultant, Directors Club sales consultant, and then there's President's Club. Okay, so I was not just a sales club, I was a Directors Club. But then there's still President's Club and all. I was just Directors Club. When I applied to go to Pleasanton, I was the fucking man. I was President's Club, and then within President, there's tiers, like how many cars you sell. I was sold almost 600 cars in 4.3 months, 4 years, 3 months. It's a lot of cars. It's a lot of cars to sell. Um, so like I was the man. I was platinum, and also you get stock options too. So they owe me stock options, but so put those stock options in, and then what else? I got stock options, and then so I did the whole application, um, put it online. It was free, or excuse me, they didn't like they weren't offering incentives. It was literally just to go there, right? So it's like, all right, I'm putting in. Everybody knows I want to go there. Excited. I do the interview process, normal interview. What do you want to do? So my credentials, blah 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 blah. He was like, okay, give us 2 weeks. He got back to me in 2 weeks. He was like, yeah, we're gonna go a different round. He gave me some. He said because he didn't want to babysit me. I don't know where you get off. First of all, you make this seem like it's a professional interview, and then you say you don't want to babysit it. I'm throwing my credentials at you. Like I take care of business. So don't treat this like a baby. This is my career. This is my future. And so don't come here and tell me you want to babysit me. What? I'm here to make money, man. Like I can make you money. Relax. So it was just weird, but he said to babysit me, and then he was like, "Oh, CarMax is too set in its way, or you're too set in your ways." I'm like, "My ways? Well, my ways are I'm a sales mentor, meaning I'm a store trainer. I train new hires. I have a successful new hire. Like everybody that I trained." I think I just heard that one of the girls was no longer with the company, but they were with the company for maybe 3 or 4 years. Like I produced qualities consultants because I believed in what I did. Like I believed, like, and they were great. They learned, they grabbed, and they learned how much money they could make. They learned the quality of a life that was there, and it was good. And you just teach them. I was just passionate about it. I taught them. I was good at it. Like you can see they were top of the stores. So it made me proud because I'm like, and that seeing that stuff encourages you too. So like, I had a couple of them. So I was training sales mentor. I was a store trainer. I was part of the fund committee. So like we would host events. We'd get a budget $500 every month, and we get to throw events for the crew. So just get him excited about the event. Like you can ask anybody again, go there. Like I used to get people hyped to go to these events, and the competition that we'd bring, like when they'd have these fitness ones, and I get people energized. Like I was involved with CarMax in the sense that, like I said, they had these health and wellness. Like I would motivate people. I would try to get people to go and really be conscious about eating, be conscious about their lifestyle, and like try to promote that positivity. Like you can ask anybody. I was that guy. Never talk bad about the company. It was just always because it was a great company. It was a great company. Just a few bad seeds. But so CarMax was in the fund committee. Got to throw events. That was cool. Like you have to throw your extra time outside of selling. So like we don't just get paid. That's another thing that people need to like. We don't just get paid like an hourly or something. Like the only way we make money is if we sell cars. So like I did train salesman. I didn't get paid to train, so I got bonus. So if they sold cars, then I made money off of that. So it was, but there was a 6-week program. Every time I trained somebody, I had to train somebody outside of selling cars, and I was still successful. So I sold cars, was able to train for free, and do the fund committee for free, and do CarMax Cares for free, and still be able to sell cars, still be able to have a life, deal with a relationship, all that stuff. So I was able to do a lot, and I was very successful with it. And that right there is my credentials. Those are my credentials. This guy was a company trainer. He was established, and you're going to tell him that he doesn't even, okay, fine. You have something against me. I can already see it. But okay, you want to play this game? We will play the game, and let's do it. So I go, okay, well, 6 months. I'm going to be right back at your doorstep. I didn't say it like that, obviously, but I just said, hey, you know what? Thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to continue to work hard, and I want to show you in 6 months. I'm going to reapply, and I want, I want in, man. I want to be with that store. And he tells me, that's your other. He says that's your other problem. You're too confident. Okay. Number one, we're selling cars. There's a level of, but number two, the thing that gets me the most is our company. We go based on professional selling principles. You have integrity. There's confidence, persuasion. There's a lot of these things. Confidence, and he tells me I have too much of it. They're trying to instill this. Carmex is instilling this in our heads that confidence is important, and yet you're going to tell me I have too much of it. Well, thanks. So that was it. Like, okay. So then that's when I filed the complaint with Scott Brady, HR rep. He did his thing. He came back and said that, oh, well, it's my communication. I was like, where are my files does it say I have communication issues? Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody knows that for the longest time, because you work on strengths and things like that. And that's one of the professional selling principles is communication. So throughout these PSPs or PSPs are like these reviews that you have. Like I take them serious. So like, and you can ask my managers. Like when Nikki Arno, she was one of the managers with me. Like when I sat down with her to have these, I was serious about getting better, and she can tell you that I wanted to be great. And as she was my immediate manager, when I was saying like, when I sat down with her, I wanted to get better. I wanted to get better, and she had the experience, and so like she can tell you that like. My communication, I took that to heart. So, so they twisted it. So, in my file, there's nothing about me needing to work on my. In me, it's my self development. They call them IDPs. My individual, it's my development plan. I can show you documentation for it. These are things that I filled out myself, and I have them sign and all that. And they use that against me in the sense that they say that, oh, Scott Brady says that you have communication issues, and I'm like. Communication. When have you ever told me in my employee file I had communication issues? I'm like, are you messing him up with my IDPs and where I want to work on my communication because I want to be better because you're mixing the two up. So either get your story straight or what's going on. So anyhow, that's kind of where I think that misinterpretation happened. That's kind of like what's going to unfold. I think in discoveries. I think he mixed up my IDPs with that, and that's obviously it's going to put them setting back, but yeah, those are I wanted to work on my communication. So anyhow, I was like, okay, well I'm done. This is now you're twisting it again. Something else is going. So now I'm like, something's funny. So I filed a complaint with the EEOC, and I'm still employed with the company. So I follow the steps. The EEOC. So the EEOC they basically don't have enough. They only take slam dunk cases apparently. So this one is going to be a little bit more in depth. So they gave me the right to sue. So there was cause there. So for them to give me a right to sue is important. So like that right there, like if the government sees there's enough, there's a right to sue, then an arbitrator sees that there's enough to sue. Like I already have the document that shows that like I have the right to sue. The government agency gave me that right. You can't just go file a discrimination claim and file a lawsuit. There's a process before you can file the actual lawsuit. So I went in that process before anything because I felt I needed to get protection at that point. So I went through that process. Then the incident happened. So this is what happened with the incident. So we're in the internet office. So in the internet office, you take phone calls. People inquire about cars, and we run credit apps over the phone. Now, black and white. So a wife called in. She was like, "Hey, I saw this car online." She was like, "I wanna get finance." It was like, "Okay, great. Like we could take your information over the phone." And she was like, "Well, I'm not so sure about my credit." I was like, "Well, if kind of told her about CarMax's banks and how we're pretty lenient actually, and that not to feel discouraged about it." So I encouraged her like, "Hey, you should run it." She was like, "I'm not comfortable." I was like, "Well, if you're not comfortable, then was there somebody else you want?" She was like, "Well, my husband." I was like, "Well, yeah, well, that's a great because you would think you have two partners in a marriage, it's bonding. The one person that you would go to is the husband. So yeah, that's perfect. It's a great match. A lot of times that works. So So they ran. So she was like, "Well, he's not here." I was like, "Okay, if you guys want to call back, we can call back." She was like, "No, but I want to really do this now." I was like, "Well, I need you to understand that like he needs. If you guys are trying to move forward with the purchase of a car, both of you guys are going to need to be here to sign." She was like, "Okay, that's fine, but I just want to get registered." I was like, "Okay, are you sure?" She was like, "Yes." I said, "Okay." So she knew his information. She knew right off the bat. There was no hesitation. Like you've dealt with people and you have to use your judgment. It's just like you just know like no something's fishy, and this was not fishy by any means. Um, and it wasn't. They ended up purchasing the car. It was legit. The guy came in, signed, had his ID, everything like as I told him it was. They purchased the car. So um, so now they listen to my corporate listen to my call, but no, it's not normal for corporate to listen to your call. They're listening to your call for a specific reason. So my manager, Brand, it wasn't my manager, but it was a manager. He was responsible for listening to phone calls and work with you on phone calls. It's almost like watching film, like for a football player. Like you go back and you want to work on what you do and how you can get better. So like that was kind of the whole core call recording process. They work with you to get better. They were hearing this all day long. What I did with the man and wife, it was like you were not having both people on the phone at one time. Like the wife was like, "No, I got my husband's information," and the husband was like, "No, I got my wife's information. Like, let's just do this. She's gonna be cool with it. Like, we need a car." Like, it's just how it worked out. And it's all 9 out of 10 times. I mean, I wouldn't even say 9 out of 10 times. I would just say all the time. Like that was it. So Brandon, he listened to phone call all day, and he was like, "This is all he heard." He was like, "This was not abnormal. Everybody was doing it. It was how you did business." So what they try to say is they listen in. They're like, "Oh, you needed to have both people on the list, on the phone at the time." So I was like, "Okay." So whatever they said, and that's what they fired me for integrity that I didn't get both. Now, 2 weeks prior to me, or maybe it wasn't prior, but Brandon encountered an incident too that also he's my witness. Because one, for statistical purposes, the call recording, if you have a higher percentage of people doing the thing, but then you punish somebody for it, everybody's doing it. Like, so you're obviously targeting this particular person. So like if there's a high percentage of people, even I said when we talked about court of law, like it's black and white. Do you have a higher percentage who are doing it, or you have a lower percentage doing it? Which is, and you're gonna go and you're gonna lean with that. So if there's a higher percentage doing it, you're gonna have to lean with that. It's the majority. It's just how you look at it. They do votes and things like that. You're gonna go with the majority. So that's what the majority was doing it, but yet they targeted me. Not to mention that I have not only the vice president of the regional for the whole for the whole Sacramento region, which consisted of maybe I don't know 10, 11 stores. So he ran 10, 11 stores. He knew who I was. I would talk with him. He would come. He came in many, 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 many more times than Scott Brady ever came in, and he would come in and check on it. Like he just that's what he did. He was just on top of his business. So Mike Dixon, he knew the type of guy I was. I worked with him. I think he was a fan of mine. He knew I was just here to make money, and he knew that. So I think he liked that. He gave me a personal recommendation. Mike Dixon said that I'm going to put in the work for you. That I want you to go work at that store because he knew what I was going to represent. You can ask him. I'll subpoena him. He knew what I was going to represent. I was going to represent quality for the company, integrity. He knew that I was. Um, so. And I also got a personal recommendation from Eddie Reagan. He was a general manager. So I not only have the vice president, but I have the general manager both giving recommendations for me to go to your store. And you say no. I was like, okay. Not to mention, so I got to go back to this shit. So much happened. It's just a lot to unfold. But also, like, so when they denied me the transfer, like they were still short staffed. So one guy that from my store did go, and unfortunately he was a white guy. So he got to go, and my qualifications were more than his. It was all on paper. Like all that can be pulled on paper. Like all my qualifications were better. So that's the great thing about sales is that your numbers reflect everything. So the fact that I had him beat on everything, it just negates any notion that he was more qualified than I was. It was not existent. I was more qualified in every aspect. But him and I had the same labor. I was just more qualified. I was just better at it. So he got accepted, but I didn't. All right, whatever. So he goes, I was all right. Well, he's good. He's good. He does it, but I'm still better when it comes to sales. That's the sole decision where you make somebody transfer, I guess. So he gets it. Anyhow, they're still looking for people. Now they started offering incentives. So now they're like, okay, well, we can't get enough people to transfer to help run the store, get it going, to work there and live there. We're gonna have to offer bonuses. They started offering $7,000 bonuses. $7,000 bonuses to just go to the store. And I'm like, what? You just I'm over here, by the way. If you guys not realize that I wanted to go to that store, and you guys are offering 7,000, and you're telling me, and this is going on in this whole process as they're telling me that, oh, we're gonna deny it. It's all happening at the same time, within that month. It all happens. It's like so that like as I'm filing a complaint, they're offering wages. As I'm doing, they're offering, and like then this is the kicker. So they still didn't have enough people. So even with the $7,000 bonus, I think they went up to 9 with that. But even that's not even the funny part. I think it went up to 9 to get more people to come, and then they still didn't have enough. And then they, for new hires, people just to bring on in that area, they were offering $3,500. I'm like, I got shafted all day long. I'm like, okay, that's some bullshit. So everything's getting jotted down. I'm like, this. So this is a cover, a big cover up. They're starting to get, now it's starting to hit them that like, oh shit, this guy has a EOC complaint. We're offering bonuses. Something's not going on. So that's when they started looking to get rid of me. So that's kind of what happened. And then so even now they fucked up now because now they offered, they asked me corporate and whoever, I guess I don't know if they were talking community or what, but asked me to go grand open the store. So they were like, okay, hey Julian, you're an elite guy out there. We need you to go grand open the store. Oh, great. So I'm not only gonna be there for the grand opening, or I was gonna be there for the think of go way back. Like I was gonna have to move on my own dime if I moved by myself. Like I was prepared to do that. We were looking at a part. Like I was gonna have to prepare to do all that. I was gonna pay that on my own dime. So that was all money out of my pocket. And now instead they're like, hey, we're gonna promote you. We're actually giving you a promotion, but we're gonna let you grand open the store. I was like, okay, so you're gonna pay for me to go put me in a hotel, put me in a hotel. You're gonna have to feed me. You're gonna have to give me a car, use your resources, and you're gonna have to pay me more money to go grand open the store. And I was gonna do this voluntarily. Now, so also getting the company credit card. So they're basically, they told me I was not good enough to transfer there, which again, it's the Joe Mario guys. It's kind of what it's all coming down. There's a group of people, and it was between the Pleasanton store and the Modesto store. So that's kind of what we're on full of those names, but I'm going to leave that for like the attorneys and stuff. But their names that were involved with it, it was happening at the same time that they're offering. So like now they're like, oh shit, like this dude's going to open the store now. So I was kind of a big shot. Like I said, people knew who I was, and I was like, I made an impression. So so now you guys, now it's controversy. Now you're like, oh shit, this guy's gonna grand open the store, but yet he wasn't allowed to transfer. So that's kind of where the controversy takes place, the retaliation and all that. So that's basically what's going on, and this whole story is kind of about is just proving kind of how all that unfolded and just discovering emails and things like that from everybody. So that's kind of the story from start to finish. And then they basically they fired me for that integrity thing with the husband and wife, and they fired me on April 1st, that was embarrassing because like everybody I told when I got fired, like, stop lying. I'm like, nah, I got fired on April Fool's Day. It was pretty humiliating. But anyhow, that's the full story. Shit, tell me what you guys think. I know you guys can't comment on it, but that's just create support around it. Just get people to watch this and hook me up. I want this to get. I want if you believe in the American system, I want this to get out there because I think it'll be a great challenge. Most people go through the settlement process and don't really get to see it out. I'm going to go through the whole trial process, and give you guys every step of the way. And like I said, the more traction you get, the more I think the more good that's going to come of it, and I think the more awareness. So help me support this, guys. We're doing it's a good cause. It's for the social injustices that take place in our world, man. Let's expose it. For once, I can't do it about the money. Let's expose it together. Help me. Just get this video out there. Talk about me. My name is Julian Villanueva. Um, you know, just I'm on Twitter. Villanueva 882. Villanueva 882, and I just try to inspire on there to get better working conditions, man. That's really what it comes down to. I just want our standards to be upheld. So Villanueva 882, that's on Twitter. So I look forward to taking you guys through this journey. But if you have, if there's got to be a way, maybe you can reach me on Twitter if you guys have questions. Maybe I need to elaborate on something so it make you help make a better decision. Maybe you can reach me on Twitter. That's fine. Um, Maybe I can elaborate. If I tell you I can't elaborate, then maybe I spoke with the attorney and says I can't comment on it. And that whole thing with the attorney. Um, so we'll see how that goes. Keep that silent for now. All right, guys. Thanks.